that you are always consistent, always, and even when it is difficult. Yes, not everyone always has a good day, but even then it has the yes.
Here. So I'm here with Thomas Schanz. Thank you very much. We can do an interview together.
My pleasure, great joy.
Yes, it's really a dream to be here in Piesport. It's one of my favorite spots along the Moselle. There's also something nice in Bremen. There's something in Leuven, but here in Piesport, it's really very, very, very beautiful. We were already here last year for our first interview. A lot has happened since then. You're now a partner of Luxair, and that's why we wanted to do a new interview. For those who don't know Schanz, could you please tell the story of your family?
Yes, gladly. So everything started from something very small. I have to go back a bit. We had a vineyard, and in 1992 we opened a small hotel, but it was purely a bed and breakfast arch. And in 2011 I took it over and added a new building, a restaurant. Everything went very well for me. I was able to develop rapidly here, and very quickly, after just 3 months, I was able to celebrate the first star. And fortunately, it continued that way. In 2016 came the second star, and in 2022 the third Michelin Star, along with several other wonderful awards that I'm very proud of. And yes.
Chef of the Year by Gaut Milau in 2022, exactly.
Yes, that's right.
But here you had already learned well. Interestingly, you often trained in the region. It was in Saarbrücken with Erfurt and then with Sonora.
Also there, yes. I was there for a long 6 years, and I learned a great deal everywhere from top chefs like Theoges and Erfurt. Eventually, the bird has to learn to fly on its own and do its own thing. Arch. Finding your own style is incredibly important in this industry. I think that having your own signature, besides the stars, is the greatest achievement a chef can reach. And yes, I work on that and refine it every day. And I think more and more people recognize whose plate it is.
That's true. And what's interesting, when you come here, we can already see the family hotel. Still there and behind us where we're standing, we've now built a new building. How did that go? How much did you invest? How did you plan it?
Well, it wasn't built with huge capital. That is, my parents' hotel wasn't fully paid off at the time, but I took it over, and that provided the security to build this restaurant. And that was for me a very large sum, a big investment. As a chef during one's wandering years, you don't earn much, but it wasn't really about the money. It was about learning something, gaining input, and that is actually the greatest benefit you have, that you simply develop an understanding and are supported, and that really can't be weighed in monetary terms if you use it. If you plan to eventually become self-employed or work as a head chef, and
Talent, Erfahrung.
For that reason, I'm very grateful for that time. And as I said, it was a big risk. But it paid off. I knew I had to work extremely hard for it. Perform every day, offer something special, and then it had to be a success.
Were those stars a goal, or would it have been okay just to have a good restaurant in Piesport?
Initially, I wanted to have a good restaurant that was economically viable. That was the idea while still being employed. But eventually a star should follow. I had wished that I would one day be a star chef and that it would happen so quickly. I couldn't have predicted that, but it also helped me economically. We opened in August 11, and normally on the Moselle in winter it's very quiet indeed. But then in November came the Star, and that helped me tremendously in the first year in ensuring a good winter, because everyone said, "Oh, Schanz, never heard of him, let's see what he can do." And then the restaurant was always well filled. I took advantage of that and tried to keep the momentum going, more staff. Then we hired more staff. And yes, that's how it is when you're beneath that recognition, to have the opportunity to take the next step.
It's very comparable to wine. You need a vision, you need good quality from the beginning, then maybe price here or there, more investment. The process is similar.
Yes, exactly. Winemaking, just like in a restaurant, you must not cook past the guest. You have to find a way to make it exciting, unique, but in a way that the guest can identify with the type of gastronomy and say, "This is delicious." To me, that is what food is.
And that's specifically not the same as saying, "I can eat somewhere else."
Exactly right.
Is there a secret to achieving excellence? And not just achieving it, but consistently repeating it, dish after dish, all year round?
Well, the first point is to give your best every day, and you never let it slide. As we say, don't let even a 5 pass, meaning you're always consistent, even when it's hard. Yes, not every day is a good day, but even then it must be excellent. And if you manage to deliver a good performance every single day, that's more than half the battle. Then, of course, creativity comes into play so that there is no stagnation. That is important in many ways. First, it's important for the guest that they always get or see something new. Something is happening. These are in-house developments, and it's always exciting when I go there. It's also important for the kitchen team, for the people who work here. And when I create new dishes, it's always an exciting situation. It never gets boring because you have to adjust to, I have to do it this way now. Or this is a completely new technique, and that is fun too.
The whole team, you have to, I don't know how to put it, but keep moving. And how do you achieve that perfection? Not just in the kitchen, but everywhere, because there are also people working in the dining room and everything has to be perfect. Is it simply culture, or how do you manage that?
Yes, as the chef, I naturally have to project that onto my employees. It's important to lead by example. I'm always there from morning until evening, and the other employees appreciate that. But of course, I am nothing on my own. In many industries, you can set the direction, but you also need those torchbearers, the people you ignite, who are passionate about it. When I lead by example and my employees adopt that, it's a huge gain. Even if I'm not out there, I hear in the evenings how good the service was, how great the service was. And that makes me especially proud that it works in the kitchen just as well as it does out front. Das ist drinnen in der Küche genauso wie draußen.
Yes, and what emotions do you try to evoke, so to speak? What do you want people to experience or talk about when they go home?
that they have eaten extremely exciting creations that at first glance don't seem like they go together, but ultimately form a taste experience, so that the feedback I often hear, and it's also what I wish for, is that the guests feel that way, that unusual combinations surprise them, and these aren't just wild ideas, but in the end they form a harmonious whole. And what's also important to me is that it is a very light cuisine. I am, after all, influenced by French cooking. It's a French cuisine, but I use very little cream or butter. It's full of aroma, robust, intense, yet very light, so that after a menu you still feel refreshed and comfortable. I think that's also the future, a lighter French cuisine.
Ever here we are. Bocuse is now offering a new menu. I believe it's without cream. Without, I did get some butter. Though maybe a word about this partnership with Luxair, which is very, very interesting. How did that come about?
Yes, I had two executives from Luxair here in the restaurant, and we talked about the In-Flight magazine. And then towards the end of the meal, they thought, would it be something if I designed a menu for Luxair? And at first I was a bit surprised and couldn't immediately make a decision. But I thought I'd listen to what they had to say. It's certainly interesting and exciting. The only question was whether it was feasible, because what we do here is quite different. So much happens la minute. How is that possible? It was a huge challenge. I think we managed it. It was very exciting for me. I learned a lot in the sense of what is possible, and if something isn't possible, how do you still achieve the goal? Yes, for example, with cooking points, with an oven in the air.
Turbulence.
Stunden zuvor und dann runter. With preparations hours in advance and then cooling down so that what can be used on board is ready. Nothing can be done without proper smoking techniques. And of course there are no chefs on board. Only stewards and stewardesses, so everything has to be fully prepared. It was a great experience and the development took several months. But in the end I am very proud of what came out of it. And I think it was a very nice partnership. Ich denke, es war eine sehr schöne Partnerschaft, ja.
Yes, and it's good that Luxembourg and the Moselle, the German Moselle in this case, are coming a bit closer together. We know the border is still somewhat significant, and this is a great opportunity to bring the two regions together.
Absolutely, I am very grateful for the airport. It's really just around the corner for us, about 40 minutes away, and it's also a nice, small, great airline. I say that because that's truly how I feel. And everything is still done by hand, which is unusual. I looked around, the bread, the rolls are baked on site. Even the cutlery is sorted and shrink, wrapped by hand. I had imagined it very differently. It's refreshingly classic in the way it's run, and it's nice that there are still services in this industry. And yes, I found that very impressive. Ja, das fand ich doch sehr beeindruckend.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to a great lunch. Thank you very much for having us here in beautiful Pie Spot, and congratulations again on the 3 stars and the various awards.
Many, many thanks.
This was Thomas Schanz from Schanz Restaurant in Pie Spot.